What's going on? What's going on? What is going on? We back. We are back. Hope y'all are doing well. I'm gonna get started here momentarily. Y'all just give me a moment. Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about it. What's up, David? We're gonna definitely talk about it. We're gonna definitely talk about it. All right, man. I hope y'all having a good day so far. It's almost noon. All right, it's hot. It's hot. It's hot outside. I don't know if you're not in Alabama right now. If y'all watching me somewhere else, if y'all in the South, it's hot everywhere. But if you up north somewhere, I don't know, Chicago or Columbus, Ohio, or something like that, Indiana or New York, it might not. It ain't hot like this. Okay, it's not hot like this. Alabama heat is something different. All right, so it's otherworldly. All right, we talking about it's like hell on earth type of heat. um Walk outside, you just start sweating just because you're outside. All right, just for sitting outside in the shade, you sweating. It's a little different. All right, a little different. But man, we got to talk about some things. Been a minute since I've been on a live. I haven't done a live in a while. All right, been super busy. A lot going on, man. Hey, everything's well. Everything is well. Just staying busy, man. Kids got a lot going on all the time. If you're a parent, you know, and you gotta do your thing. But we gotta talk about some things in Alabama, some things happening in Montgomery, some things happening in the state of Alabama. So this morning, and by the way, man, y'all hit the like. It don't take that long. Just hit the like, share the video. That'd be awesome. Hit the like though for sure, and hit and light up that comment section. All right. If y'all got something to say about whatever's going on, y'all got a question about something, I'll try my best to get to it. All right, and address it. Y'all know me. I'm gonna address something if somebody says something to me that's worth me addressing. All right, I'm gonna address it. Now, hit that like, man. You are watching the Captain's Quarters show, and I'm your host. All right. I'm your host. Let's get to it. All right. So, over the weekend, really since the beginning of this year, as a matter of fact, scratch that, since about 2020, all right, we've had just ridiculous amounts of violence in the city of Montgomery. Exponentially increased violence related to 2018, 17, 16, and going all the way back to the 90s. Um, Now we have just a ridiculous amount of shootings, stabbings, fights, robberies, homicides, just you name it. If it's in a violent category, we're having more of it in recent years, and we know the reason why. A big reason why. Not a whole lot changed. Let's keep it real, because y'all know I'm gonna keep it real. Y'all know I'm gonna keep it real. A lot of these other activist type people, they love to like kind of slide stuff up under the rug and act like it ain't really happening like that. I'm gonna call it what it is. Nothing has really been occurring differently in the city in regards to things have been going about the same, right? The population has been about the same. We haven't had a huge influx growth of population, so that wouldn't be related to the increase in violence. Matter of fact, we lost population really, but it ain't that bad. So that's the same. For the most part, we got the same Montgomery County Sheriff, Derek Cunningham. He been around for a while now. Um, Montgomery Public Schools had changing superintendents every few years or so. That's been the case. Nothing new there. Um, what else? What else? City council. It's been some changes, a few changes. I would say city council has gone downhill in the last 5 years. I would say so. It's like a couple of them on there that are really worth being up there, to be honest. But for the most part, city council is kind of the same. It ain't that much of a difference. What am I getting to here? Like, have things really changed in Montgomery? Like, outside of the violence, what has really changed from 2018-19 to 2020? What changed? Like, what changed? Really? I can only point to one thing that really changed. There's a common denominator in this whole situation. The mayor changed. The mayor changed. I mean, that's the only thing that you can really say happened. Now, you can say we've had a carousel of chiefs of police, but that more coincides with the new mayor, because since the new mayor became the new mayor in 2019, we've had 3 different chiefs and 2 interims, if I'm not mistaken. 3. We've had 3 chiefs and 3 acting or interim chiefs. You had Chief Hall, that was the acting. They didn't call him interim, he was acting. You had that lady, I forgot her name. Y'all know what I'm talking about. The lady that was after Finley, if I'm mistaken. After Finley, it was a lady, a black woman. And then you had Chief Graboys, who's now the chief. He was the interim before he became chief. So anyway, all that relates back to the mayor. All right. Since we got a new mayor, Mayor Reed, we've had the change of the chiefs. So the mayor is the only thing that's really changed in the city. Since 2019, 18, 17, like that time frame, when we was having 35 homicides, on a higher end, 35, 40-ish. Now we're hitting well over 60, 70. So outside of the mayor, now let's look outside the mayor. What else has changed in the city? Let's say since I don't know, let's pick a year, 2000. Since year 2000, all right? Since year 2000, when we probably had about close to 200,000 people, probably more in line to what we have right now currently, which is like 195, 196, 195,000, 196,000. That's about what we got right now. For those who don't know, people think we got 200 plus thousand. No, we don't. So since 2000, what has really changed? Yeah, you had mayors change over the time, but something else changed in the city. And it's something that people kind of gloss over, because people know they'll be looked at a certain way because they're pointing it out. And I'm a person who, I don't care about how you feel about reality. I don't care how you feel about the truth. Right? It just is what it is. I didn't make it this way. It's just I'm going to be captain. All right, we're on the Captain's Quarter show. I'm going to be Captain Obvious and point out to y'all what y'all all see, but not everybody wants to highlight and examine further of why that's causing the situation of the violence to be what it is. And what am I talking about? The demographics of the city of Montgomery have changed pretty drastically. From year 2000, in the early 2000s, moving on up to 2010s and all that, we had a higher population. Over 50% of the population was white. All right. Then from 2020 census into now, we've got over 60% black population in Montgomery. That's a big swing. That's a big swing. So it's funny how back when we had more majority of the city was white, there was less homicides, less violence, less robberies, rapes, murder, like you name it. It just was less stuff going on. Yeah, we all know that. People that grew up in Montgomery or you've been in Montgomery for like the last 40 years, you know this true. You know it. So fast forward, now we have a greater population of blacks and we got homicides through the roof. A city our size should be having something that makes more sense would be like 20 to 30 homicides. That makes more sense for a city this size. And really that's kind of high, but because I can find y'all cities that's way bigger than Montgomery and they have half the homicides we have. Half. That's right. All right. Austin, Texas. They have like 60, 70, 80 homicides. They have 1 million people in the city. 1 million. We don't even have 200,000. And we're pacing right along them with homicides. We beat them out a couple years ago. So anyway, might have last year, but I know a couple years ago when we had that 75, was it 2021? We had 77. We outdid them. I think they had 74 or 75. We had 77. Just ridiculous. And got to go ahead and say it, Austin, Texas just so happens to have a greater population of white people. It's just the way it is. Y'all can look up any city y'all want to in America. Look, y'all do it yourself. The Google is very good for looking up stuff. They got this AI stuff going on. You can find information real fast. Type in any city you want to come up with. Type in that city and put homicides. You look back over the years, 2020, 2021, all the way to last year. Look at the numbers. Then go look at their census data of their demographics. And I bet you lower homicides equals less violence. I don't know what I just said. Did that make any sense? No, it didn't make any sense. Let me say that again. Look up the census demographics for the city you're looking up, and cities with higher population of white people coincides with less violence. There you go. There you go. They have a higher population of blacks, they're going to have higher homicide rates, higher violence. I ain't making it up. I'm not making it be that way. It just is what it is. I'm just calling it out. All right. That's what we're seeing happen. Now, then after you admit that's the truth, then you can kind of peel back the layers and say, okay, why is this the case? Because skin color doesn't make a person act a certain way. It doesn't. But there's something about the culture, the acceptable behaviors of certain types of people that affects the way that they behave and live life, right? And whether they commit more crime or don't. There's something to that. So, we have to be honest and real. And y'all are watching the Captain's Quarter show hosted by Milliner, and I'm gonna keep it real. All right, we keep it real over here. A lot of the other guys, they do, and they have great little shows and stuff, man. Shout out to them. But they not keeping it 100 though. They keeping it about 85, 90, right? Let's see here. David said, this country has lost morals, and parents are the problem most of the time from gangs and neighborhood beef. But education is piss poor in Alabama and this country. Yep. And so we hear this a lot. We hear that a lot about, especially like here in Montgomery, a lot of politicians say the crime is directly related to a lack of education. I don't think Yeah, it plays a part, but I think what, and when you ask people, this is what I think, this is how I see it. Education, yeah, it's important. It's important. You need to know how to add and subtract and read, and you need to know how to do certain things, right? But what's more important than education? What is more important than education? Having good character, having good behavior. That's more important. Having having a good attitude, not being a rude individual, um, not being an arrogant prick, not being a wild child, knowing how to conduct yourself and treat other people, that will get you further than the best education affordable to you. Just facts. Just facts. Because how many doctors and teachers and superintendents and people do we know that are highly educated, got 4, 5, 6 degrees, PhDs, all that, right? They don't want to be called nothing but doctor such and such. You call them by their first name, they gonna think you try to kill them, right? So you got people, how many people like that are out here stealing from our kids, stealing money, going to the club with the stolen money? How many doctors are doing pill mills and getting people addicted to drugs so they can make money? How, they using the education for bad, right? For evil, but they're educated though. So I thought education was the most important thing. It can't be. You have to have good moral character. That's more important than education. If you have the good moral character, then the education should follow. You don't make people have good morals by educating them. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. They don't go to school to learn how to behave. They learn how to behave at home, right? And you can educate them at home as well. But you have to have that discipline already. Let's see here. When have you seen the mayor out riding the streets and coming to talk to local Montgomery businesses? Man, I asked the same question. Like, when do we ever see Mayor Reed out, like, in neighborhoods? Like, just not because somebody got killed, not because the Hispanic community is, being taken advantage of because there's a lot of illegals in the city, and they're an easy target because the criminals know they can go rob the illegals and they ain't gonna call the police because they don't want to get deported, right? Well, they shouldn't be here in the first place. But how many times he'll show up for that, right? Because he looks at illegal aliens are his constituents. How does that work? I don't know. They can't vote, but he'll show up. But if it's a parade, a football game, some type of event, he'll show up. Mayor Reed will show up. But when do you see him just show up because, hey man, the people need you to come out and just speak to them at businesses, in neighborhoods? I never seen it in my neighborhood. I haven't heard anybody else say he's been into that neighborhood. Just to stop by, ask questions, like shake hands, like, hey, I see y'all. Like, I'm aware of there's issues, like not having a press conference, actually going to the people. I haven't seen that happen. I mean, I just haven't seen it, man. Let's see here. David said gangs, drugs, cartels, human trafficking, labor trafficking, especially big factories here, and they know nothing will happen. There you go. A lot of underhanded, underground stuff happening, and folks don't know about it. And the news is real silent about certain things. Certain things they ain't really gonna talk about like that. Derek said they just need to impeach Stephen Reed. Yeah, I mean they do, but at the end of the day, who's gonna step up? That's better than him. You know what I'm saying? I don't think right now there's anybody that's ready and willing to step in that's going to do a better job right now. I don't think that's going to happen. So, you know, I'm all excuse me, I'm all for getting him up out of there, but I mean, we got to have a plan of action as far as like who's going to, succeed him. He's incompetent and weak. That's a fact. That's a fact. Yeah. David said, but when the illegals all leave, who's going to work in those jobs? LOL. I don't see any young people wanting those jobs. It's a very serious conversation soon. Yeah, hey, we can talk about that real quick. And then I'm gonna get to this other stuff too. Let's talk about that real quick. Whole illegal situation, illegal aliens, ICE, and all that type of stuff. That's like a big. People are really talking about that a lot, and they're like, a lot of people are kind of upset about how the federal government is dealing with it. But let's be real. Before illegal aliens came to America, like in huge numbers, who was building houses? Who was doing the road construction? Who were the ones working on the farms? Who were doing housekeeping jobs? Who were doing lawn care and all the type of things that they tend to come over here and do? That's more like under the table type jobs. Who were doing these jobs? It was Americans. Americans were doing the jobs. You know what I'm saying? When I was a kid, we used to go around the neighborhood and cut grass for people. That's how we made money. Oh, in the summertime, we would go house to house and get us some clients, some little clientele. We used to cut yard for $5 a yard. $5 a yard. That was back, we talking about 1998, 99, 2000, in that like range. We would go cut yards for $5 because gas wasn't number like 98 cents or something, a dollar. So, you know what I'm saying? You can make money. You can go cut a few yards and it had you about $20 or whatever. And that was a lot of money back then. But yeah, that's who was doing it. Like Americans were doing the jobs, these same jobs. So I don't like that we're having to say, well, if we didn't have illegals, who would be doing the jobs? Like we'll be doing the jobs. Americans will be doing the jobs. But see, it's better as far as the overhead, the cost, and everything for a company to hire an illegal and pay them under the table or whatever the case, or pay them pennies based on, as opposed to paying an American better than minimum wage. It's just easier to just pay them. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of them, they're not gonna give you lip either. That's another part of it too. A lot of Americans tend to have more entitlement. And then the illegals, they have a sense of entitlement too, because you got to feel entitled to sneak into a country, to break into a country, and then expect to just come in and just use up all our resources. Like that's pretty much entitlement too. But they are workers though. They work for what they have. You know what I'm saying? They don't get on the job and do a bunch of complaining. I've seen these guys get talked to all kind of ways by black, white, whoever. Right? Because people know they can really talk to them that way and they ain't gonna really book because they want to get paid. Talk to a black person like that, a black American, in the same tone and everything, and they gonna sue you. You know what I'm saying? They gonna sue. Yeah, Americans, $30 per hour versus 15 to 20. Think about that. Yeah, I mean that's it comes down to cost. But if you take away the illegals, Americans will do the job. Excuse me. Americans would do the job. They would. Because we were doing it beforehand. They would say, no, we don't have anyone ready to take his place. To my Mayor Reed. I like the Felder guy in Montgomery. Yeah, but he's not going to win, man. He's not going to win. Like, just keeping it 100, man. Like, he has a good view of like how to deal with certain issues, you know, the crime and you know, just dealing with like outreach to the youth and stuff. He has good ideas about that, but realistically, he's not going to win. You know what I'm saying? He's not going to win. He's just not going to have the support. It just is what it is. And I voted for him last election. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if people know that. Now I said it before publicly, but I voted for him in the 2023 mayoral election. But then I looked and I saw the numbers after the election, and he was under like 10,000. Second place was like I don't know, 15, 17,000. And then Mayor Reed had 25 to 30, somewhere in that range. So I don't know if he's gonna be able to swing. Like, if it was just Felder versus Reed, then of course he'll get more votes, right? Because it's only two guys. But if you add a third person in there and a person who's got more funding, more reach, like like last time he had Gilbreth, then it takes away. Felder's not gonna have a chance, right? So it's kind of it's one of them situations, man. I don't know who needs to run, but we need somebody else to run. I've asked certain people, about who's running, people that kind of are in the know, and there's a couple people that's running, but I hadn't been able to get a name. I think I might know somebody that is running on that ran before and didn't get it, but we'll see. We'll see. But right now, I don't know. I don't think nobody's ready. They split the vote. Yep, and that's crazy. That's what it is. That's why you just need two guys. You just need two. If you have three, the third person, or if you have three, four, five, them bottom two or three people, they just gonna be just they just taking votes away from the person who could win over Reed. Basically, is what happens. It's like a presidential election. Same thing. You have your top two people, the Republican and the Democrat, and then you always had this third party, Green Party person, an independent or some random person that's taking away votes. They know they're not gonna win. You know what I'm saying? They're not there to win. They're there to take votes away from one candidate or the other. That's how that is. Yeah, we need somebody that loves Montgomery for real. Yeah, we do need that. But they gotta have a realistic chance to win though. At the same time. So we kind of on politics. So I'm gonna keep it on politics. Then I'm gonna get back to something else, right? I'm gonna talk about the whole conference that happened this morning. I'm gonna get to that. Let me go ahead and talk about the politics part since we on politics and voting and all that type of stuff. We got this governor election, right? So we got the Montgomery election coming up. That's 2027. For people who don't know, that'd be August of 27. But in May of 2026, all right, May of 2026, we less than a year from it. We got the Alabama governor race. All right. And we got some contenders. All right. We got some contenders. And we got people who just there because, I'll get to that. So right now, on the Republican side, you got a guy named, I think his name is like Kevin McFeeters. Steve Marshall was trying to run, but decided not to because Tuberville, all right, Republican, jumped into the governor race, right? He's the senator right now. He's the favorite to win. In my opinion, y'all heard it here. Your next governor of Alabama is Tommy Tuberville, all right? Everything else is just a formality at this point. You got to have a race, but he gonna win. I mean, unless something just drastic happens, your next governor is Tommy Tuberville. Now, so Steve Marshall stepped to the side. He said, "Yo, Tommy Tuberville's coming. The big dog's coming. I'm gonna step to the side." Because he understands that. Why run against the guy who's the favorite to win, who's going to win? See, Republicans understand that. You know what I'm saying? Republicans understand, okay, I'm gonna step to the side and let this guy run because he's the guy that's going to win. He's the guy that's who we need anyway, right? All that ego stuff, put that to the side. All your pride, put that to the side, all right? We're trying to win. We're trying to do things that make sense. On the Democrat side, you got this guy named Will Boyd. All right, Will Boyd is running. I don't know who this guy is. I don't know. All right, I don't know. I don't know who he is. I just know he's Democrat, and I know I'm not voting for him. All right. I'm sure he's a great guy. I'm sure he got a great family. I'm sure all kind of stuff good and great and wonderful is happening over there on the Boyd train. But being governor of Alabama. No, no, that ain't gonna happen. Uh, and then you got, to my knowledge, there was a few people that said they're running, but I think only a couple. Now I got an article that's got specific names. Okay, Chad Chig Martin, that's another guy on the Democrat side. He ain't gonna win either, but he's running, and he's got this thing where he is like, how can I put it? He's like a middle of the road Democrat. He portrays himself to be a middle of the road Democrat, like a like a moderate Democrat, like not a radical guy, just a regular old working man, country guy in Alabama. All right, he just a working guy like you and me. He just one of us. All right, he's running. Um, he ain't gonna win either. All right, now I got stats. Stats tell you a story. Okay, y'all might not like stats. Stats might be boring and all that stuff. They tell you a story if you just know how to look at it. All right, so let me bring this in because this puts everything in perspective. Okay, everything I'm saying gonna put it in perspective for you. So you can say, you know what? I see what you're saying now. You making sense on that. All right, this is Ballotpedia. Okay, and they're basically, you know, they keep up with who's running for what, and they keep up with stats about what percentage of people voted for who. Okay, and let's check it out. So last go round, okay, last governor race, 2022, you had the Democrat side right here. You see the Democrat side. You got Yolanda Flowers who ran, who I didn't see her running this time. I guess she got the memo. Okay, she understand. Okay, you ain't gonna win. All right. So she probably running for mayor. She probably doing something in Birmingham or somewhere. She ran and got 33.9% of the vote. All right, of the was it Democrat vote, right? Yeah, Democrat vote, right? So that's primary, Democrat primaries. She right there with Malika Sanders Fortier, which is again a person who I have not seen her name on this election, right? So she understood the memo. She got the message as well. You're not gonna win. All right. So and then you go down to the bottom. This is the Democratic primary. All right. This ain't even the major. This ain't the big time general election. This is just the primary of the Democrats trying to figure out who's gonna come out on top on the Democrat side. Chad Chig Martin is the bottom. He's the bottom feeder of that group. 5.6%, 9,000 votes. Buddy, you couldn't beat the two black women. It's three black women that was the top runners on the Democrat side in 2022. The third place woman got 19,000 votes. All right, 10,000 more than you, Chad Chig Martin. All right, I'm sure you're a great guy, man. I'm sure you're a down home country man. All right, down home country boy. All right, I'm sure you get along with everybody. Probably got a good personality. Probably, good smoking partner. Get a cigar and get a little whiskey and just kick back on the front porch. All right, I'm sure you are a great guy. Watch football with and all that stuff. But buddy, you're not finna win the election though. I mean, the numbers are what they are. All right, you can't change the numbers. They ain't gonna change that much. All right. You fast forward to the 2022 general election, okay? Because Miss Flowers, she won the Democrat side, and she got in the general election 412, almost 413,000 votes. That's 29% of the votes. All right. Kay Ivey got almost 67%, 946,000, almost 947,000. All right, way more than double what Miss Yolanda Flowers, the Democrat, did. Okay, stats tell you the story. If you are running Democrat in Alabama, you're not gonna win. This is not Georgia. We don't have in Atlanta where you got 5 million plus people in the metro area. All right, They got more people in the metro area of Atlanta than the whole state of Alabama has. Yeah, that's yeah. Remember that, okay? So we don't have that type. You, if you're a Democrat, you're not winning the governor, okay? Yeah, I know Doug Jones won the senator on the fluke. Y'all know a whole bunch of crazy stuff had to happen for that to work out. But the very next election, guess what? He still got kicked up out of there. So so yeah, and then of course, like always, you got this third party type person. You got a independent guy, Jared Budlong. Don't know who that is. He got 0% of the vote as a write-in. You got James Blake as a libertarian. I'm pretty sure that's the L represents. Uh, in this situation, the L represents loser because he got 3.2% of the vote, 45,000 votes in the whole state. All right. Anyway, y'all. So all that to say, right now, the only people that's on this list right here, according to Ballotpedia, that's running for this next election: Will Boyd, Democrat; Ken McPheeters. Oh, Ken, my bad. I said Kevin earlier. My bad. I'm sorry. Sorry about that, Ken. Ken McPheeters, Republican. And you got Tommy Tuberville, Republican. Now, it's another guy from right here in Montgomery, Alabama. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Old Jamel Brown, all right? Old Jamel Brown, the pastor, all right? Pastor Brown. He said he running for governor. Hey, man, you might need to put that call in to the media, to AL.com and Ballotpedia people, because your name ain't nowhere on their stuff. So I don't know if they didn't get the memo. I don't know if you didn't turn in your stuff on time. I don't know what's going on at this point. Cause you got time. I mean, you got time. It ain't like you late or nothing. But you said you're running for governor, but it ain't on the books though, because they not mentioning you. Just FYI. And let's be honest, man. Jamel Brown he ain't gonna be the governor either, man. Look, man, he couldn't even be the city council person on the west side. Ain't he like the mayor of the west side? He can't even be a city council person on the west side. They don't even vote for him over there for city council. All right, in Montgomery. I mean, let's keep it real. Why people always gotta like run for office and they know they're not gonna win? They know they're not going to win, but they run anyway. I think it gives them a little bit of clout, helps their business side. I mean, he got a lot going on with making videos and stuff, all kinds of skits and stuff. All type of other, he do all kind of, what they call it, activism. You know what I'm saying? He do a lot of activism in the community. I guess running for governor will help you, get more eyes to your foundation and what you got going on. I get the game. I get it. Yeah, I mean, I get that. I just don't like when people do that because you're not being for real. You know you're not going to win, but you're running anyway. Allegedly, he's allegedly running because he ain't on the books nowhere, and ain't nobody else talking about him except for the local media in Montgomery. But AL.com, they did a whole article 3 days ago. I ain't see his name nowhere in the article as a candidate. All right. Ballotpedia, who keeps up with the stats of elections all over the country, they don't have him listed either. So I'm just saying, maybe he ain't, keeping it all the way. All the way. I don't know. I don't know what's going on, man. But I'm sure he'll figure it out, though. I'm sure he'll figure that out. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure. He might figure it out, might not. I don't know. Who knows? Let's see here. But hey, who am I voting for? Thomas Tuberville. That's the next governor. All these other people, they can run all they want to. Democrat definitely not gonna win. Let's see here. Lieutenant governor. Let's talk about that too. That's an important position. Okay. That's an important position. Right now, I want to say you got like the guy I like is Dean Odom. He ran for governor in 2022. And matter of fact, he got more votes than old Chad Chig Martin did. Not by a lot, but he got more votes than him. But yeah, he's running for lieutenant governor. You got the lady Wadsworth. Okay. What's her name? Nicole or something like that. I think her name is like Nicole Wadsworth. Let's see. Where's she at? I'm looking on this article right here that I got from AL.com. Yeah, you got Pastor Odell. You got Patrick Bishop, who's running as well. He's from Coleman County. All right. Where the lady at? I saw her. Oh, there she is. Yeah, Nicole. There she is. Nicole Wadsworth. Now she got some. I don't know, man. I kind of thought she might be like a person who might be kind of the front runner on that side, on the Republican side for lieutenant governor. But after that article that came out from Yellowhammer News that was questioning whether she was married or not, questioning her whether she was a doctorate or not. Man, all kind of stuff was being. I don't know, man. I think that race, excuse me, that campaign that she running is almost dead in the water before it gets started. I mean, hey, she could rebound, but there's a lot happening over there. A lot happening over there, man. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm with Dean Odell on the lieutenant governor. I think Tommy Tuberville, governor, Dean Odell, lieutenant governor. Dean Odell, you know what I'm saying? He's a pastor. Some people don't like him. You know what I'm saying? People don't like a lot of people. People didn't like Jesus either. But the thing is, he's an anti-establishment guy. So I think putting him with Tommy Tuberville, who's not an establishment guy, not a politician type, I think that'll be a good duo. You know what I'm saying? And they'll make some really good common sense decisions for the state of Alabama, right? I think that'd be a good duo right there. I think that's a winning team. You know what I'm saying? If I had to call one, that's a winning team. But we'll see. We'll see what's happening. We'll see what's happening. Now let me get that off of there. All right, clean up my clean up my all my tabs here. Okay, all right, cool. Now let's go back to the whole Montgomery situation. All right, because this morning we had this press conference. All right, so we had this press conference this morning, and I'm gonna pull that on in here because we're gonna watch it. We're gonna listen to it. You know what I'm saying, and kind of see what they're talking about. What's being said. All right, then of course I'm gonna react to what they're talking about. We got to talk about this. All right, so let me kind of set the mood, set the room, right? Set the stage for this. So over the weekend, and really, like I said earlier in the video, since 2020, we've had a lot of crime, a lot of violence in the city, and more specifically, the last couple of days, there was a myriad of shootings in downtown. They were shooting or whatever. Buildings got hit. You had a guy get shot over there on West Boulevard somewhere. I think that was like a road rage incident. And he survived, and he'll be okay, as far as I can tell from what the media said. And we're hoping that he's okay. And then you had the little girl, Diamond Moore, that got shot and killed over off of Mobile Highway on the west side of Montgomery. That's man, condolences to her family. As a dad, I cannot imagine the pain of like having that happen. Like your little girl's asleep in the bed at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, and then somebody starts shooting into your house, and then she gets hit and dies. Just tragic. Something that we see too often in the black community. It happens too much. Kids get hit. They have nothing to do with nothing. Just just reckless, man. White supremacy had nothing to do with that. You know what I'm saying? Nothing to do with that. That's a person who has been misguided, misled, probably doesn't have a dad in his life, probably a guy, most likely, doesn't have a dad in his life. Mama might care about him, might not, you know what I'm saying? You know, and he's just been able to just live life how he wants to do, how he wants to do it, and could be a teenager. We don't know yet. Could be a teenager, could be a 20-some-year-old, but most likely a younger person. If I had to guess, probably a black young man between the ages of probably about 15 and 22. You know what I'm saying? Most likely is who did it. Um, just terrible, man. Just terrible. I think we're at like what 32 homicides, something like that, on the books. That they call homicides. Just ridiculous, man. It's June and we're at over 30 homicides. We're on pace for another 60 plus homicides. This will make the 20, 21, 24, yeah, 6 years. The sixth year in a row of 60 plus homicides. We've never done this in Montgomery history. We've never hit 60 plus homicide. Matter of fact, we probably did 60, but I don't remember 60 in my lifetime until now, right? Until this time period of Mayor Reed. But to have 60 plus homicides 6 years in a row, and then y'all say that the mayor don't have nothing to do with that, man, stop. Y'all need to stop. But anyway, let's go listening to this press conference and see what they were talking about. And check out some of the new technologies and methods and strategies they're gonna be using to combat the crime, all right, and reduce the violence. All right, I'm back. I don't know what that was. Make sure I'm good to go here. Make sure I'm good to go here. And pull this video back in. This joke over here trying to mess me up, man. All right, I'm good. I'm back on here. All right, cool. I ain't tripping. All right, we're gonna get back to this. We're gonna get back to this. Let's see here. Bringing this video. We're gonna listen to this press conference, and let's try that again.
Good morning. We want to thank everybody for being here today. I want to thank Chief Graboys and command staff and all the men and women of the Montgomery Police Department for their outstanding work. I want to thank my Chief of Staff, Jeremy Reed, CAO Jamal Filial, and our CO, Lucinda Babers, as well as Special Assistant to the Mayor, former Public Safety Director Lawrence Batiste, as well for their ongoing assistance and really the great work they've been doing to help us lead the city, along with our city council. We wanted to come here today to talk about a few things that relates to public safety. That is always a priority for my administration. And over the weekend, we had a few events that we thought we needed to bring to the public's attention, but also to let our residents, our visitors, and those who work here understand what our plan of action is, not only just for this next week, this next month, this next quarter, but what we have moving forward to make Montgomery safer for each and every person that comes to this city for whatever reason, at any time of day, at any time of the month. We want to make sure that we communicate to them just exactly what's going on, where Chief Graboys and the command staff here at Montgomery Police Department have planned and what we've been working on as an administration as well. So with that, Chief Graboys, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
I'm going to ask you to bear with me. This was a difficult weekend, and I decided to put some of my words and plans and thoughts onto paper because I wanted to write this and convey some things. So bear with me on this, please. Good morning, and thank you for coming. We moved our media briefing, intended for Tuesday, to today because while our original briefing was going to discuss some of the year-to-date progress that we had made, this past weekend has been very difficult and painful for us and all of our citizens. Of note, we had the homicide and the critical shooting on Friday. The unacceptable homicide of a 13-year-old child. Of every possible crime, this is the most egregious, and it weighs on me. It weighs on all of us at the city and at the police department. We are going to be making every effort, and my people are going to be bringing every resource to bear to bring this suspect to justice. My prayers are with the family as they prepare to lay Diamond Moore to rest. To the family, I will not stop. We will not stop until this case is solved. To the critically injured victim from Birmingham Highway on Friday, from that shooting, we will spare no resources or efforts to ensure that your assailant is caught and charged. Every one of us feels these things very personally and professionally. Further, we had a shooting incident that took place downtown on Saturday night, affecting multiple people simply because of the perception it creates. In this incident, nobody was injured, fortunately. 2 buildings were struck, and a vehicle was hit. No one should be feeling unsafe anywhere in this city. To me personally, and to the men and women of the Montgomery Police Department, every homicide, every shooting, every crime, all of them are important. No matter who, when, or where they take place, we will use every resource and man-hour at our disposal to pursue the perpetrators and bring them to justice. We will leverage every partnership and all information to tailor our actions towards making our city safer. Over the course of this weekend, our officers have been working tirelessly, developing promising leads to identify the perpetrators and solve these cases. We will not rest, and we will not stop. We're going to be changing things operationally to be even more proactive in pursuing crime prevention and suppression. We will work through assignment changes, changed hours, changed off days as required to ensure increased coverage in areas and times where and when it is needed. Further, we've instituted an exhibition driving detail and are instituting targeted traffic enforcement details that are going to include checkpoints with zero tolerance.
Man, it's about time. It's about time. When the last time the city of Montgomery had these checkpoints where they would check for driver licenses, registration, insurance, and while you're doing all that, you're gonna find illegal weapons, drugs in the car, people being held against their will, and all kind of stuff that happens in the city. When the last time we had checkpoints in the city? Like, man, we 6 years in to the most crime that the city has seen ever in the city of Montgomery. And we're just now implementing these type of strategies. I mean, hey, I'm glad. Maybe something else is going to happen. Maybe there'll be some real changes to how they're policing in the city, where they don't just depend on the state to come in, or maybe this is going to be a state task force as well. But if it's just the city doing it, maybe now the city can find ways to like better police without using the county and the state. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, about time. Thank you.
Our SOD, who have been working tirelessly day in and day out, are going to continue targeting those special offenders that we need to put behind bars. We are going to be utilizing technology to increase our ability to apprehend suspects via increased camera coverage in the city using both license plate readers and facial recognition software. These facilities, or these tools, are incredibly effective. We're going to utilize our Star Watch system to magnify that. In fact, I want to note, we presently have orders in for tactical drones, police drones that we are going to be actively using starting this summer. We're going to be doing this in our daily operations to help identify and pursue criminal suspects.
Where's that money coming from? Where's the money coming from to purchase tactical drones, police drones that he's talking about? How many drones are y'all looking to get? How much do they cost? What's the cost of these other technologies that y'all are talking about implementing? The facial recognition software, all this. Like, how much this costing, and where's this money coming from? I'm just asking. I'm just wondering. You know, as a taxpaying citizen, I'd just like to know, what fund is this coming from? You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I could have sworn they act like they don't have no money. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, but maybe they got like a grant or something, perhaps.
These drones will be the part and the beginning of a departmental program to increase our ability to effectively detect and respond to crime. I have outlined some of our actions and our plans, but I'd be amiss in going forward if I didn't state my feelings on this, because each one of these crimes, especially the homicide, as a parent, have touched me in a way that I am incredibly angry about, and I will not rest until they are solved. Now, one of the things we want to do is make sure that we're notifying the public of the things we are doing and the operations that we're conducting, because we want you to know that we care and we will spare no efforts going forward. We want to make Montgomery a safer place to live and visit, and we will not cease in that effort. At the present time, I'm going to open it up for questions. If there are no questions, then that concludes this. Thank you for being here.
Now, one question. Man, what type of how did no one have a question? I mean, come on. I mean, I have just random question like, how much do the drones cost that y'all are going to be purchasing? You see, he said they put the order in already. They're just waiting for it to be, shipped out or whatever. He said they're doing facial recognition software. How much did that cost? You know what I'm saying? How many officers are y'all planning to put on these specific shifts that y'all talking about, changing hours and work times and work windows? Like, what areas of the city are y'all looking to put more police in as opposed to another area of the city? Like, no questions was asked. Why did it take y'all this long to do these things? How many officers do we have on payroll right now? How many are we budgeted to have on payroll? Y'all were talking about y'all hired 31, 32 officers or something like that in recent months. Okay, how many officers left the city to pursue other jobs elsewhere or just retired or whatever case? Like, so y'all hired 30 something, but how many left in that same time period? Like, ask questions like this. They don't want to ask. They don't even want. They didn't ask one question. What media was there? Was there no media there? Were they just up there talking? And outside of WSFA, who was there? Because they live streamed it. Were they the only ones there? And we know WSFA apparently they just want to do whatever Mayor Reed wants them to do. So if he wants them to tell a certain narrative, they're gonna do that anyway. Are they the city's media now? Where's WAKA? Where's AL.com? Where's who else is right here in Montgomery? Montgomery Advertiser. Nobody asking. What are we doing, man? Like this crazy, man. It's like the blind leading the blind, leading the blind. But I guess I could say this is like one of the first times that I recall our chief speaking and saying, we're implementing this. We're going to do this differently. Because I haven't heard them really talking about that before now. You know what I'm saying? We like 400 some homicides in to the Mayor Reed regime. You know what I'm saying? Like, we like 400, 500 homicides in. But, I guess, better now than later. I don't know. I mean, or what they say, better late than never. You know what I'm saying? This crazy. This crazy, man. But I was talking about earlier and how demographics have changed in the city of Montgomery, and now we have more homicides, more violence, because the demographics have changed. Y'all, it's a city in Minnesota called St. Paul. All right. St. Paul, Minnesota. Y'all know how many homicides they've had so far this year? Oh yeah, by the way, Montgomery has about 195,000 people. All right. Okay, 195,000 people. Whereas St. Paul has 307,000 people, according to the Census Bureau. All right. 300, they got over 100 and something thousand more people than us. We're at 30 something plus homicides right now, currently. St. Paul got like 5 right now. Yeah, y'all heard that. You heard me clear. We have in Montgomery at 195,000 people, we have over 30 homicides, documented homicides right now in 2025. St. Paul, Minnesota, with 307,000 people, over 100 and something thousand more people than what we got in Montgomery. They only have about 5 homicides as of right now. Now, let's look at maybe a reason why. What's playing a part in this? You know what I'm saying? What's playing a part in this? Let me pull in this data. Because once again, the stats tell you a story. All right, they tell you a story. Let's look at this story it's telling. Now, for people who are going to say, oh, man, what you talking about, man? Like, where you getting this info from? This is from census.gov. All right? This is the United States Census Bureau. So check this out. Population of St. Paul as of July 1st, 2024, 307,465. All right. Now let's go down here and look at their demographics as far as their race and ethnicity. Okay. White alone, 53.2%. Black alone, 16.2%. That's a major difference. 53.2 and 16.2. In St. Paul, they got more Asians than black people. Asians alone, 17.9%. Okay. Hispanics, 9.1%. All right. Yeah, that's a, you know what I'm saying? And then they got a white alone, not Hispanic or Latino, 50.6. Okay, that's a big percentage of the city. That tells a story of why they don't have homicides at the same rate we do in Montgomery. Let's look at Montgomery. All right, let's check out Montgomery's numbers and see what's happening over there. And we're gonna bring this on home. All right, we're gonna bring this on home. Let's see. Go ahead, add that in there. There we go. You know what I'm saying? Good old Montgomery. All right. As of July 1st, 2024, okay, that's right here. 195,818 people in Montgomery. All right. In 2020, we had 200,588. All right, so we lost 2.4% population. So they may read talking about we growing in Montgomery. No, we're not. All right, so this is the Census Bureau, by the way. All right, they keep up with the numbers. Let's go down here to the demographics of the race and ethnicities. White alone, percentage, 27.7. Black alone, 63%. Yeah. Hispanics, 4.8%. Asians, 3.2%. All right. White alone, non-Hispanic, non-Latino, 26.6%. All right. So that's pretty much right there with their white alone up there at the top. All right. So less than 30% white, over 60% black. And we just so happen to have like 6 times the homicides of St. Paul right now currently. And St. Paul, by the way, y'all go back and look at this up yourself, but they typically have like 30, 40 homicides a year. Like that's kind of like typical to them. Matter of fact, I think I saw something where it said 40 something was like the record or something. Like they hit like a high like a couple years ago. So I think they usually have like maybe 30. You know what I'm saying? Like 30 range. Where we used to be back in the early 2000s. But there you go. I mean, you know what? Look, I'll look up another city just for kicks. You know what I'm saying? Just for kicks. Cause I know some people gonna say, man, that ain't even, nothing real. Like that ain't gonna explain it. Black, just because you black don't mean you commit homicide. I agree. Your skin color doesn't make you do certain behaviors, but the culture within that certain group is one of violence. It is what it is. I mean, I ain't make it that way. You know what I'm saying? I'm just calling it what it is. Let's see here. So I'm gonna look up a city. I'm not gonna look up the homicides. I'm just gonna look up just the demographics of the city. That's all I'm gonna do. I'm looking up Buffalo, New York. All right, shout out to Buffalo. Buffalo, New York, census.gov stats. All right, let me go ahead and let me pull that in here so we can look at that. Then I'm gonna look up their homicides in just a bit. But first, all right, let's look at the numbers. So population, July 1st, 2024. 276,617. All right. Let's look at the demographics. The demographics tell us they have 45.4% white alone percent. Black alone percent is 32.9%. It's kind of close. They got 12.7% Hispanics. And then Asians are 8.2%. All right. So based on that, they're gonna have, because they're a bigger city than Montgomery. They have 276,000 people. And they're a big metro area too, bigger metro area than us. Their metro is more like Birmingham size. They may have, their homicides will be kind of neck and neck with us. Kind of neck and neck with us. Like we're having 65, 70 homicides a year about over these last 5, 6 years. I'm gonna say they're gonna probably have about between 50, 60 homicides, something like that. All right. Just based on the numbers, based on the demographics. Now let me look up homicides and see what their homicide looking like. Let's see, I'll do 2024. Cause they probably not gonna show nothing for right now. Like this year we in. Let's see here. Okay. So in 2021, they had 60. 2022, they had 54. I mean, them numbers are coinciding with what I just said a little while ago, about 50 to 60. Let's see. Yeah. So I'm trying to see. 2022, they had 39 homicides, but the year before that, they had 71, apparently. 2023, they had 39, but in 2022, they had 71. So, you know what I'm saying? They kind of like, here's a little chart right here. They had 47 in 2019, 65 in 2020, 66 in 2021, 71 in 2022, and then 39 in 2023. Yeah, so they kind of all over the place with their with their numbers. But if we look at a city like, let's look at a city like I like to look at Raleigh, North Carolina. You know what I'm saying? I like Raleigh, man. Raleigh, North Carolina is a cool city. Let's look at their numbers. Much bigger city than us. Much bigger than us. All right, let me all right, cool. Let me go over here and get their census numbers. Boom. Let's see. All right. Add that in here. Let's get it. Raleigh, North Carolina. Population. July 1st, 2024. 499,000. Almost 500,000 people. All right. In the city. This ain't the metro. This is just the city alone. Demographics. Whites, 53.8%. 53.8. Black, 27.5. All right. All right. So based on that, they're gonna have a lower homicide rate. Now, knowing what I know about Raleigh, I know their record is like 41 homicides or something like that. That's like they high. They most they ever had. But I'm gonna look up and see what the numbers say. Because the demographics, they tell you a story. So look up homicides. Let's see here. Let's see here. Let's try 2023. All right, so they do their thing, their numbers based on like a county. So they're in Wake County. They had It says 2023 was a record number of homicides in Wake County at 56. 56 was their record. And Wake County, so Raleigh alone is 500,000 people, roughly, right? At the time that they did that homicide rate, they were like probably about 480,000 or something like that. But in the county, you talking about it might have 1 million people in the county. They could have 1 million people in Wake County, and they had 56 homicides in the year. We did more than 56 every year since 2020 in Montgomery. Wake County population. Yeah, over 1 million. Over 1 million people, they had 56 homicides as a record. That's a record. 1 million people. Montgomery, we have not even 200,000. We hitting over 60. Even when we had 200,000, we were still hitting over 60. We hitting 75, 77. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you look at these demographics for these cities, if you find cities that have over 50% white population, they're gonna have lower homicides. It just is what it is. The blacker the city, the more homicides. Look up Baltimore, Philadelphia, Memphis, Birmingham, Montgomery, of course, Jackson, Mississippi, so on and so forth. They have higher black populations with higher homicides. It just, you know what I'm saying? Look at Selma. Selma is a city of they've been losing population. So they used to be 20,000. Now they got I think about 17,000, 16,000 people. And they have 20 homicides a year. That's ridiculous. 20 homicides a year for a city of 20,000 people is astronomical. You know what I'm saying? There are cities who have, I remember when I lived in North Carolina, Raleigh back then, I remember looking up their numbers and they had 18 homicides in a whole year. I remember that. That had to be 2013, 2014, something like that. It was just, I'm like, wow. Montgomery, at that time, we was having 35, 40. I'm like, why is that the case? But then you look at the demographics and it tells you why it's that way. But it don't have to be that way. So what is it about the culture that makes it that way? In Montgomery, we've had a lot of things happening, a lot of bad things happening all at the same time. We got a terrible mayor. We got a lot of politicians locally that look at color, the color of your skin being the most important aspect of a person. We know this because they talk about color in every time they run for office, or when there's any type of the hiring of a person on any level. It's always talking about black this, black that, diversity and inclusion, all that type of crap. You know what I'm saying? So they really value color, right? You got fatherlessness going at a high rate in Montgomery. Most households are run by single females. That's just what it is. As a result, you got more crime happening. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot going on. Then you got no police. I ain't gonna say no police, but our police is probably 50% staffed. All right, maybe probably worse, probably more like 40% staff. And that's playing a huge part. It's a lot going on, but we're not really addressing these issues. We're not dealing with the fatherless homes. Say that right. The fatherless homes we're not addressing. They want to throw programs all over the place, community centers and all this stuff. That's been proven to not make a difference. It doesn't move the needle when we're talking about lowering crime and violence, robberies and homicides and things. There's a church on every corner in Montgomery. I mean, can you go a mile in the city without seeing a church. Like literally, you can be on one stretch of a road. Go down Bell Road. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's about probably 7 churches on Bell Road alone. Probably more than that. I know I just counted like about 5 just real quick. There's probably more that I ain't even count. Like 7, at least 7 churches on Bell Road alone. Bell Road ain't even that long. You know what I'm saying? It go from Troy Highway to Vaughn Road. To Atlanta Highway. That's it. And it's like 7 churches. It's like, I don't know, 6, 7 miles of road. Let's say it's 10 miles of road. And there's like 7 churches. You can't even go a mile. That's a church a mile. Like, we got plenty of outreach going on. Like, there's plenty of outreach. That's not a problem. We got nonprofits all over the place. Everybody and their mama got nonprofits in Montgomery. You know what I'm saying? The big ones I know about, Change Nonprofit over off of Oak Street on the west side. You got on the north side, Charles with That's My Child. You know what I'm saying? You got Transformation Montgomery over there on the north side, Chisholm. The guy that does the Flatline Church, the pastor, I don't know his name, but y'all know what I'm talking about. He does a lot of outreach. There's groups all over the place doing outreach. So when we say kids don't have anything to do, kids don't have enough people that care about them, we're lying. We're lying when we say that. There are countless organizations, churches, nonprofits, even governmental organizations that are doing outreach, that are providing opportunities for young people to get involved in things outside and other than committing crime. So we can't keep blaming there ain't enough to do in Montgomery. They don't have organizations. There's nothing. Everything costs money. There are programs that will give you, either let you do it for free because you're at a certain threshold poverty level. You got they'll give you like grants and all kind of stuff to get your kids involved. The problem is most of the kids that's out here committing the crimes, it's not about outreach. It's about their home life sucks. They have no dad. Their moms don't care. They run the streets all day, all night. You know what I'm saying? That's what's going on. You can have the community center open, but a kid that wants to be in the streets is not going to come to the community center to learn something. They're going to, if they come up there, they're going to be up there trying to recruit guys to join their criminal activity. You know what I'm saying? Or they're going to be committing criminal activity at the community center. Guys who want to be in the streets are not going to just come to your event or your organization. Maybe one will do it. But we know by and large they're not going to do that. If their home life sucks, most kids are not going to look for something safe to do. They're going to look for something to get into. Like, we got to start being real. So let's deal with the home life situation. How can we deal with the home life of these kids? Let's look there. So I keep saying it. I said it, I don't know how many times already. I'll say it again. I'll say it as many times as I need to. City of Montgomery is trying to give single mothers a check from the city. It's like the federal government giving you welfare, but it's from the city. So you got the feds doing it. Now you're going to have the city of Montgomery trying to do it. So that's single moms. You're incentivizing single motherhood. All right. Single mothers has been proven to not be effective when it comes to raising boys. Sorry, not sorry. I mean, it just is what it is. I'm sure it's a lot of y'all. I ain't about y'all strong women out there. There's a lot of y'all strong women out there. Y'all strong. Y'all do everything yourselves. Y'all hire yourself, you fire yourself, you buy your own car, y'all built your own car. I get it. Y'all do everything anybody else can do. All right, y'all climb mountains and move mountains and all that stuff. But most women can't do all that. And they dang sure can't raise no boy to be a man. Can't do it. Right? So why are we upholding and affirming single motherhood when we know most of these kids that's getting locked up down in juvenile and getting locked up in the city and the county, going to prison in Alabama, most of them don't have an active dad in their life. All right. Now we can discuss all the scenarios of why that is, or why the dad's not there and stuff like that. There can be a plethora of reasons, but the reality is they're not there, right? So these boys fall to the wayside. That's what happens. All right, it's just proven. It's proven. I don't know how anybody can like argue that. Dads in the home, dads involved in their kid's life. It's proven to show that when you have a dad, you're more educated. You get your high school diploma. A lot of them go to college, get secondary education. You go to they get trades. They are productive citizens. They don't commit crimes. Like this has been proven. All right. So Adrian said, "What's up, Adrian?" I don't think anybody wants to accept the reality that the violence in the city is a cancer that has progressed over time and has now metastasized. Any outreach, ministry, intervention, government, official, etc., that comes in now is pretty much pointless. This city will die, and it will take something extremely bizarre to rebirth it. I can't really disagree with you. I cannot really disagree because we are at a point where we're at the bottom. We're almost at the bottom. All right, where we can go. I would implore people to look. If you want to see the bottom, look at Jackson, Mississippi. All right, look at Jackson, Mississippi. That's about the bottom. I don't know if it get worse than Jackson, Mississippi. And look at the issues they got with their mayor that's being investigated by the federal government with homicides where they had one of the highest homicide rates in the world a few years ago. They had like 130 homicides. All right, this is ridiculous. Their city is smaller than Montgomery. All right, we got like 30,000 more people than them, and they had 130 homicides or something, some crazy number, 128 or something. Crazy. We are headed that way. We keep on putting in these Mayor Reed types, these Democrat politicians that all they want to do is lip service. You know what I'm saying? Lip service. And I know they're gonna say, well, what are you doing? You're just online making videos on social media. What are you really doing about the crime and stuff? I'm calling a spade a spade. I'm keeping it real, whereas y'all politicians, y'all not keeping it real. Y'all fake the funk, y'all lie, y'all twist the narrative, y'all spin the narrative. Y'all want to do everything but be honest about where we are in the city when it comes to like crime and education, and y'all that's what y'all do. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing that. I'm keeping it real. And I'm active in my kids' lives. I make sure my kids are not just running around doing whatever they want to do and stuff. We have a family. You know what I'm saying? So I'm active. I'm actively making sure that my kids are not going to be a statistic of what we see a lot of kids getting into in the city of Montgomery. That's what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? And it would be great if more people would join in this effort. You know what I'm saying? This effort right here. it's at a point where folks scared. Folks are scared of these kids, man. Like grown-ups are afraid of the young teenagers in the city. You know what I'm saying? I talk to these teenagers pretty often. There's like I come in contact with people of all backgrounds all the time based on the work that I do. And I talk to these kids. Like I talk to kids, they come walking through my area and I'm like, yo, they're like they're so disrespectful. They'll walk through and they'll like knock stuff over. They'll throw stuff at people's cars and just doing stuff, right? And I address them. And I'm like, yo, how old are you? They'll say I'm 14, 15, right? And it's like, let's say it's nighttime. It's like 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night. Maybe the sun just going down. Maybe it's already dark. I'm like, yo, like, why are you not at the house? Why are you walking? Why are you walking around loitering and things? Like, go to the house, right? Nothing out here but trouble. You know what I'm saying? Like, but people are afraid to even approach them because they scared they got a gun, a switch or something and gonna light them up. You know what I'm saying? And it's just crazy. Like the young people are running things. They doing what they want to do. They doing what they want to do when they want to do it. And if you question them about it, they gonna, they're liable to lose it on you. You know what I'm saying? And people understand that and they say, yo, well, he ain't finna mess with them kids. Let them boys do what they want to do. That's cool. Long as they ain't doing it over here. That's what people say. Just don't do it over here. But eventually, they do it over down the street, they gonna come right in front of your yard next. Right? That's how it works. Adrian said, an even deeper reality that no one wants to face or admit is that this city has always been a violent city since its founding. Through Reconstruction, through Prohibition, and now in the 21st century, the fiber of the city is a tight weave of violence and bloodshed from slavery all the way to our current situation. I wouldn't say that Montgomery has always been a violent city like that. Like, if you have violence, right, of different types of violence, robberies, rapes, homicide, assault, arson, like things that harm people and stuff. Okay, if you have certain instances of it in a place, then people will say, okay, that's too much going on, right? You have one instance of it is too much. So every city and municipality has things that happen, but it's at the rate that it happens, right? Everything kind of works in tandem with other things, right? So when you have certain types of people in a certain area, you have more things that are prone to occur based on the people that's there. That's how things kind of operate. In Montgomery, if you look back to, I don't know, like 1950, let's say 1950, Montgomery wasn't having like a lot of homicides like that. Matter of fact, I'm gonna look up and see what was the population of Montgomery at that time. I want to say like 140,000, maybe something like that. Let's see here. Let's see. Let's see. Population. 1950, 106,000. All right. Then 1960, they had 134. All right. We had 134. So 106,000. Like back then, I don't think Montgomery was being, because again, mind you, we just hit the homicide record, all-time record, 2021. All right, 77 homicides. So before that, we had 50 in 2013. When we had 50 in 2013, I remember the media saying that was the highest number, like since like 1970s or 80 or something like that, something crazy. So I don't think Montgomery's been having like a high violence rate since the inception of Montgomery, since Montgomery been around. You know what I'm saying? I don't know about that one. Even slavery, if we want to talk about slavery itself is not violence. You know what I'm saying? Like we have allowed the quote unquote historians to twist the narrative to paint a picture like every slave owner, every slave master was like abusive and like violent and stuff. That's just not the case. It just is not the case, right? It just isn't. But you know that's something that people don't want to talk about because everybody wants to believe that slavery was just like terrible, horrible, and people was beaten and stuff. Yeah, but not every slave owner did that. There were slaves that were living very comfortable on their plantations and were happy about where they were. You know what I'm saying? Like, just be real. They had their own living situation. They had plenty of land. They ate clean food and stuff because they grew all the food on the land. You know what I'm saying? They were treated well. They were somebody's property, but you can be somebody's property. Like, how many of y'all got animals? I got a dog. My dog's somewhere around here. That's my property. You know what I'm saying? But I don't mistreat my property. I don't beat my property. I don't starve him. I don't do stuff like that, right? Because, you know what I'm saying? Like, people just think that just because people own slaves, that they were just violent people toward their slaves. Like, everybody wasn't like that. But anyway, let's see. He said the rehabilitation of this city must start in the home. Facts. From birth. That's right. A new breed of people, a new culture has to happen. That's right. Completely agree. In the 1950s, it wasn't black on black crime in Montgomery. It was white whooping niggas' asses. He said it was whites whooping niggas' asses. Again, see, now I'm gonna go ahead and get to it, man. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. A lot of the storyline and the way it was told to us, I question everything they say about back in the 50s, the 40s, 50s, 60s when blacks were like trying to like integrate and stuff. And the way history is told to us is, oh man, the white police was hosing down the blacks and they were just trying to oppress them and all that stuff. Man, I'm looking around. In the present right now. I'm talking right now, right? All I see is mostly black people that are being violent, black people who constantly buck on police, fight police, shoot at police, try to disrespect the authority of police. They go to court, disrespect the lawyers, the judge, the bailiff, and everybody in the courtroom. Like, we see this the culture of like, what do people say? They call it black fatigue, like that black ghetto fatigue, because people are tired of seeing like black people whining and complaining, and when they don't get their way, they fight and yell and cuss and just act a fool, right? I'm looking at all this. We see this happening right now. With all the freedoms that we have, you are free to walk to any restroom you want to go to, sit wherever you want to sit on the bus, go fly a plane, do all kinds of stuff. We got black judges, we got black CEOs of companies, we got black everything, mayors, all kinds of stuff. And I'm seeing right now how it is. So I'm thinking back to the 50s, and the way they paint the narrative is, oh, woe is the black person, man. They was all getting beat and hosed down in the streets and just getting whooped on, right? As Adrian put it, getting their asses whooped. Well, I don't think that's exactly how that was going down. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I saw the Montgomery Riverboat Brawl. I saw 3 white guys jumping on 1 black guy. I saw another black guy who wasn't a part of the situation insert himself in the situation, break it up. Everybody went their separate ways. And then I saw other black people who weren't a part of the situation insert themselves into the situation after it had died down, and then they came into the situation and started beating all the white people up. The white people who wasn't even fighting, mind you. I saw the media say this black co-captain of the Harrier II was getting jumped by 6, 7 people. Just a blatant lie. That was a lie. There was 3 men. 3. Now, is that too many? Yes, but it ain't 6 or 7 or 8. All right, so we need to call it what it is. So I'm watching the video. I did videos about it. I broke it down, and I saw what I saw. The media said something different, and I'm like, and then I'm watching all these other people react to it, and they're saying that these black people were right in what they did. That they were they were defending the honor or whatever of the black guy in the situation. And if the media in 2023, 2024, whatever the year that was, 2023, if that happens now, where we got everything on video in 4K, and we're watching the media manipulate and spin the narrative and lie about how many people were jumping on this man, then I have to believe that back in 1950, where everything wasn't on video and it's all about the journalist and the media, when they tell you something, that's just what it is, right? They'll snap pictures and they can make up any scenario of what was going on. How you gonna know? So I believe back then they was lying. I believe back then they was spinning the narrative, telling the story that they wanted you to think happened. They wanted you to think, okay, these white folks are jumping on these black people for no reason, just randomly. I don't believe it. I think the way they're lying now, they were lying like that back then. You know what I'm saying? So I don't believe that white folks just jumping on black folks back in the day. I don't believe that. Because that would be happening today. Black people are so violent and stuff in America right now that it would make more sense that more white people would be jumping on black people more now. And it doesn't happen. The only time in Montgomery history that in recent history of since the 90s, 80s, that any of us can think of where multiple white people jumped on one black person happened in 2023. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we talking about? So I question all the history they taught us. I question all of it based on what I see right now, because things don't really change that much. You know, they don't change that much. I'm not going for it. We see how they talk about slavery. They talk about slavery like only white folks had slaves. Man, Native Americans had slaves. Black men had slaves. The first legal slave owner in America was a black man, Anthony Johnson. The man went to court because he had slaves. He said, I want these slaves for life. And the rule was they work on your farm or plantation for a certain amount of time, like 6 years, 7 years, whatever the case. He said, man, bump all that. I want these slaves for life. And he took it to court and won. A black man from Angola. He was from Angola, not a white man from Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, a black man from Angola. So the narratives are crazy. Like the way they teach history and people don't have a reference, a point of reference to say, I gotta question that. You know what I'm saying? Let me question, because people don't really think. Like you think, okay, the media is telling you this, or you're learning it in school. You think, man, it's gotta be true. You know what I'm saying? It's gotta be. No way they be lying to me. No way they be withholding a great bit of information about this. No, they got when they say white slave owners, it's white slave owners. Ain't no black slave owners. Ain't no Native American slave owners. Can't be. You don't even think you don't think about this as a child, as a teenager, high school, even college. Like I didn't start questioning it until really I was well into college. And I'm reading these books and I'm thinking like it's funny how all these books I'm reading all have the same type of information. They tell the story the same way. I'm like, that's kind of weird. Like, wouldn't you think it'd be kind of like a difference in different scenarios based on who's writing the book? But they all say the same stuff. I'm like, that don't make sense. And it's always black people are the oppressed. Always. This don't make sense. So then I started questioning, started looking up information. I'm like, I'm finding that, oh, there were black slave owners? What? There were Native American slave owners. Didn't learn that in school. But yeah, it's real interesting, man. It's really, you can teach people to believe whatever. If you start at a young enough age and start teaching kids about something at age 3, 4, 5, 6, you can teach them anything. You can teach them that slavery didn't even happen in America, right? If you start at age 2 and you're teaching them that, and as they get older, you keep telling them like it ain't even happen. You know what I'm saying? They'll believe that it didn't happen because that's what they've taught. All they've ever heard was that. Now, when somebody bring in more information and say, "Oh, yes, it did," because this right here happened, then they can question it. But before they have the knowledge to think about it, they're gonna think whatever they've been told. Which is why the LGBT people are so successful in changing society into believing men can be women, women can be men, little boys can be turned into girls. You know what I'm saying? Like there's equality, like the sexes are equal. Like they can make you believe anything because they're getting these kids at such a young age. Now them kids that were born in 2010 and 2013 and stuff, like a lot of them, or even like 2005, they're growing up in a society where all this LGBT stuff is like big time, like diversity, inclusion is everywhere. So that's all they really know. Unless they're being taught otherwise in their house, once they watch TV, Sesame Street, and the news and stuff, it's over. Because they're already being programmed. Right? That's what it is. So if you teach something at a young enough age, you can teach people anything and they'll believe it. Anything. Yeah, man. I just ain't going for it. I ain't going for it, man. I ain't going for the okie doke no more, man. Like I'm just not. So I question anything that the media tell. I question it. I question it because they lie. Academia, the media, and pop culture are three in the Democrat Party. Those are the four conduits to twisting up society. If you can get we got Democrat Party who are already pushing craziness. Then you got academia. So you got from college all the way down to elementary, teaching you certain aspects, certain things that happen and teaching it wrong. You got pop culture and the media. You know what I'm saying? When you grow up, you can't like not be influenced by at least one of these, right? If not two or three of them, because we all influenced by the government. If you're an American, born in America, pop culture that's in the music, that's movies, that's you know what I'm saying, that's celebrities. Can't miss them. Academia. Everybody go to school for the most part, unless you homeschool. Like that's the only way you're gonna not be indoctrinated at a certain level. So it's they've got this thing, man. They are smart. They're smart with it. They are smart with it. They've been doing this for a long time. They know how people think, how people move, what people are going to watch and what they're not going to watch, and how to get their attention. They know how to get kids' attention. All this has been, it's a well-oiled machine at this point. So you have to really do your best to really teach these kids about God and about how he's the same. He was the same yesterday, today, and he's gonna be the same tomorrow and forever. All this technology changes over time. Some things become obsolete. Some things become the new, fresh, hot thing. That's gonna change over time. But God is always the same. You know what I'm saying? Sin don't change. Maybe the ways in which you can sin may change, but the sin itself is the same, right? A sin is a sin is a sin. Like adultery ain't gonna, it's been around. There's different ways you can commit adultery now because you got technology and stuff like that. You can do all stuff online and they got all kinds of stuff I don't even know about. But adultery itself is still adultery. It's still cheating and disrespecting and dishonoring your marriage. It's still the same. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we got to teach these kids, man. They got to understand that God's the same, and His standards are the same, His principles are the same, His morals are the same. They don't change. You have to be able to keep yourself grounded and not give in and believe and break to what the world is teaching you. The world is teaching you everything is wrong. Everything they're going to offer you all kind of things to get you to do wrong. They're going to incentivize you to do wrong, but you have to stay grounded in God to be able to reject that temptation, reject that offering that they're going to give you. Whether it be a job, whether it be a certain amount of money they're going to try to offer you, a certain position they're going to try to offer you, certain opportunity, whatever the case. You know what I'm saying? But you got to be able to stay grounded and understand that what you do is going to either honor God or dishonor God. And we don't have enough. There are people that do it. You know, I know that for a fact, but it's just so many kids now that are not learning about God in that way. You know, or they're learning that, you know, you go in church and, you know, shout and kick and do your little praise dance, run around the church and stuff, and that's worship or whatever. I mean, hey, do what you want to do, all right? But the way in which you live your life is more important than going in church and putting on the show. I'm just keeping it real. You know what I'm saying? Worship how you want to worship, but the way you live your life and treat people should matter more. Right? Like we just saw the guy from Newsboys, the group, the like gospel group, or whatever, I don't know whatever they are called, like gospel pop or something group. The lead singer has admitted to years and years and years, like 20 years worth of like drug abuse and sexual immorality as far as like grooming, all right, grooming young men. And when that came out, I wasn't surprised. I mean, I don't know, call it a gift. I don't know. I can look at a guy and pretty much tell like what he's on as far as like his, you know what I'm saying? Like you can just kind of tell. Men, I think, can tell. You can tell when you look at a guy whether he's probably playing on the right team or the wrong team. All right, you kind of tell that. And that guy, to me, I'm like, that dude don't look right. You know what I'm saying? You know, mannerisms and stuff, he just don't look right. So I wasn't surprised. But outside of that, what really matters is the fact that he was doing what he was doing for so long. And then he made this statement, right? He put out this like letter admitting to some things and kind of defending some things. But folks were saying, like, give him grace, show him mercy, and just and like pray for him and stuff like that. All right, cool. I have no problem with like praying for him if he's really being showing that he's repentant about that. But the thing is, what I'm not gonna do, and what most believers shouldn't do. This is what we often, a lot of believers get caught in this right here. They'll give the benefit of the doubt to a fault. What I mean is, these situations happen. This man has carried himself, has portrayed himself to be like an upstanding Christian, like Christ believer. But in reality, he was doing abominable things. You know what I'm saying? Like, he wasn't just like, if you steal, you can repent and you can really stop that. Still ain't really, God don't call that no abomination, right? But when you're a man committing homosexual acts on another man, that's abominable. That's a whole nother level of sin. All right. You're going against the essence of how men and women are created, how we are reproduced. You know what I'm saying? You're doing the complete opposite of that. So, and then it's disgusting too, by the way. It's just absolutely disgusting. So he's doing these type of acts, and he's using drugs, and he's getting with younger men. These are like young men, like teenagers and stuff, like early 20s, young men. So when he admits to these things, instead of giving him the benefit of the doubt and saying, "Oh well, you know, we all fall short," boy, that's like the most used phrase in Christian history. Gotta be. I mean, I don't care what somebody does. If they are a Christian, a so-called believer, if they say, "Man, I'm gonna do right" or whatever, you know, that, okay, people always run to and say, "Well, we all fall short." Excuse me? No, all of us don't do homosexual acts on men. All of us don't groom young men. All of us don't use cocaine and smoke crack and pop pills and stuff. No, we don't. Now, I don't know what y'all do. All of us don't do that. I don't do that. You know what I'm saying? I don't cheat on my wife. I don't do drugs. I don't commit sexual acts on anybody. You know what I'm saying? I don't do none of that. So we all don't do that. No, we don't. No, we gotta stop doing that. And then y'all misquoted. We all fall short doesn't mean you actively are falling short every day. Like, you're always doing things that are like against God. Like, that's not, no, the scripture was talking about we all at some point in life fall short because we're humans. Like, as you're growing up, you're gonna do things, right? You're gonna commit sins. That's what it's talking about. But then in the Bible, it says, Christ says that you become a new creation. He tells you to go and sin no more. How can you go and sin no more, but you're steadily falling short? Houston, we got a problem. How are you a new creation and he tells you to go and sin no more, but then you go and say, well, hey, everybody falls short, so you go out there and you do sin and do all kinds of stuff. You go out there and have sex with men and smoke crack and all kinds of stuff. That's sending the wrong message. Christians, I'm talking about the believers. Now, I ain't talking about nobody that's a non-believer. You an atheist, I ain't talking to you. You don't count in this. Christian believers, Stop giving these people an out and talking about everybody falls short. No, we don't. No, we don't. Y'all might, but all of us don't. You know what I'm saying? I'm not included in that. No. So I'm going to call out what is going on and say he did some crazy activities. He need to deal with that. Now it's interesting how that guy from Newsboys got caught. Then he came out and said, "Oh, I'm repentant and I'm trying to change and all this type of stuff." But you didn't say this until you got caught in what you was doing. You didn't on your own say, "Man, I got changed or whatever." Like you didn't do that. So I mean, he sound like somebody that got caught and now he don't. You know what I'm saying? Instead of dealing with the repercussion of getting caught, I'm just gonna tell everybody, man, I'm finna, I want to change. I made mistakes, and there was some things that people would say that was true. That some things they kind of left out. Like, nah, man, stop, man. Look, dude, you are gay. You a gay homosexual, dude. You a radical homosexual. Like you out here, you know what I'm saying, doing all kind of stuff with young dudes. Keep it real. Stop trying to minimize what you're doing. That's an abomination unto the Lord. And you out here trying to minimize. Y'all need to stop, Christians, y'all need to stop doing that, man. Stop giving these people an out like that. Sure, go pray about it. Go pray for them and stuff. Encourage them if you know them. Encourage them to, get life on track. But to go out here and say, "Oh, y'all fall short," it happens to the best of us. No, it don't. No. Maybe for y'all, maybe I don't do none of that though. I don't do drugs. I don't engage in no sexual activity with nobody except who I'm supposed to do it with, my wife. Period. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't in that. No. That's just crazy to me. But I was gonna say this too about that. Christians also got this thing where it's cool to be Christian in the church and in certain arenas outside of church. But when it comes to dealing with politics and government, all of a sudden, Christians don't want to be involved. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's an interesting thing to me. Because the Bible tells us to be active in the politics of who is leading you, right? Like, the person who is leading you should be leading you with godly values, according to what the Bible says. Which makes sense, right? The way that God leads us, he would want us to be led by, like our pastor is a person that leads the congregation, right? And they're supposed to be held to a high standard. Likewise, when you have like a king or a president, a prime minister, or whatever your leader is in your nation, that needs to be a person who's pushing godly values, right? But Christians, a lot of times will go and try to put in somebody who is pushing anti-God policies, anti-God laws, like pushing abortion, pushing the gay agenda, LGBT crap. Like, as a Christian, how can you put somebody in office that's telling you they're okay with a 3-year-old identifying as the opposite gender? Why would you put somebody in office like that? Why would you put somebody in office that says openly that they are for abortion up to 7 months and stuff? Why would you actively go and put that person in office? Like, you know what I'm saying? But then they want to turn around and say, well, y'all vote for Trump and Trump was an adulterer. Like, is he actively committing adultery as a president? No. Did he do it in the past? Maybe. I really don't know. Maybe he did. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he did. Chances are he did. But he's not doing it actively. He was president already. He's president now, and I've never heard anybody come out and say he's actively, as president, committing these acts. Hadn't heard it. You know what I'm saying? But we had a Democrat President Bill Clinton that was actively admitted to doing acts in the White House. But Christians wouldn't vote for him. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Then you got Obama actively said, yo, he pushed what was it? The gay agenda. They got behind him, you know what I'm saying? Supported him. And he telling you like what he's about. Turn the White House, put the White House rainbow LGBT colors on the White House and all that stuff. Black folks to this day defend him. They have pictures up. They have Obama's picture up in buildings, in like community centers and all kinds of stuff. To this day, man, they've been in office since 2016. They still got this man picture up. What did he do for black people in America? Not a thing, but because he represents something. Didn't do anything, but represents something because he looks a certain way. That's all that matters, man. That's all that matters. You know what I'm saying? Christian, man, we gotta get it together. I am happy though. I am happy. It does seem like there's been an amount of growth in people that are like more vocal about things. I'm not exactly sure like what kind of changed, but or what like initiated this change in society. But I've noticed a lot more people are more vocal about things that's happening in society. I do like that because that's what it takes. You can't just be quiet about stuff and then like you gonna have to keep your head down and just live life and ignore all the, you know what I'm saying? The city's on fire and you just like, man, well, hey, man, I gotta go to work. You know what I'm saying? Okay, I mean, everything's crumbling around you because you got your head down and you're going to work. Your job gonna crumble at some point because the whole city's on fire. You know what I'm saying? So everybody needs to get involved. Basically, get involved. Stop trying to just go to your corner of a church and say, I'm doing all I can and stuff. I mean, some people, yeah, they are, you know, some people, everybody has their role. Everybody has their role in the kingdom, right? So when we're on earth, people have their role here some people are prayer warriors. Some people are people that can run for government. You got other people that are going to be, run nonprofits. You got other people that's going to be vocal and go out there and do protests. You're going to have other people that's going to, be more behind the scenes and organizing things. You have people that's going to got the money. They're going to fund you to push godliness into, like, you got people that do different things, right? One of my things is like being vocal on here and like talking about what's going on and like how we need to change it. And that's like one of my roles, right? So everybody has their own roles about how they go about life and to push godliness into society. But we have to do it all and stop like trying to hate on the next person for what they do. Everybody's role is not the same, right? Everybody's not a doctor. Everybody's not a lawyer. Everybody's not going to be the president. Everybody's not going to be the mayor. Everybody's not going to be a teacher. Everybody's not going to be a police officer, a security guard. Everybody's not going to be, whatever. Everybody has their role. So anyway, man, I'm finna get on up off of here, man. Finna get up off of here. If you didn't see the whole thing, go back and check out the first, 30 minutes or so. That's when I was talking about the Alabama governor race and like politics and stuff like that. And then I got to talking about the shootings and the violence and stuff that's going on in Montgomery. And the little girl that got killed over the weekend. Oh man. But anyway, again, condolences to her family. Hopefully they find out who did it, and bring them to justice because I think she probably about the 20th, 30th child under 14 or under that's being killed in Montgomery through violence. If I had to guess, in the last few years, she got like number 20, 30. There's been a lot of kids that have been killed through violence in the city of Montgomery. It's just ridiculous. But anyway, y'all appreciate y'all for watching. This was the Captain's Quarters Show. I was your host, L. Milliner. All right. Y'all make sure y'all hit the like, y'all share the video, and y'all take care of yourselves. Keep your head on the swivel. Help somebody that needs it if you're available, if you're able to. And you know what I'm saying, love your family, and I'm gonna catch y'all the next go round. Can't tell you when that'll be. Maybe real soon, maybe a little while. I don't know. But anyway, man, God is good. God is good all the time. All right. Till next time, I am gone.